And so, again, we're looking for facts. We're just looking to review what happened and see how we can go forward. With that, one of the things that, as Mr. Black alluded to, a lot of times are just going off of evidence after the fact. Fortunately, we do have video of the placing of the pipe bombs as well as the response. So today we'll be utilizing some U.S. Capitol Police CCTV footage that we'll play to help us break these things down. Now, as most of you know, there is not any audio associated with these videos. We didn't hire a Hollywood producer to put sound effects in, but what we did do is overlay radio communications, Capitol Police radio communications over the top of the video to save time. So whatever audio that you're hearing is actually where we have put the radio communications commensurate with the video. And according to the FBI, both devices were planted the night before, but were discovered more than 16 hours later in the early afternoon of January 6, 2021. One of the questions the subcommittee is interested in, as part of our oversight responsibilities, is the law enforcement response after the devices were discovered, specifically setting and maintaining a secure perimeter around those devices. At roughly 12:42 p.m., the first device was discovered near the RNC. At approximately 1:21 p.m., two civilians walked south on 1st Street, past the RNC, and entered the Capitol South Metro Station directly across from the alley where the first device was discovered. U.S. Capitol Police security footage shows no police presence at 1st and C Street to prevent pedestrian traffic from walking directly into the safe perimeter. Approximately 1 minute later, a U.S. Capitol Police officer makes the following broadcast over the radio. Can we please play that tape?
Traffic 1. Traffic 1. Sir, I have people walking down 1st Street, right in front of the Republican Club. Somebody's not doing their job.
Assistant Chief Gallagher, you can clearly see in the video a roll of yellow police tape on top of a sidewalk post at 1st and C Street, which indicates that there's already been the response and at least a presence there. Should a safe perimeter have been established at 1st and C Street by 1:21 p.m.?
Thank you, Chairman. So for incidents of this nature, the first officer on the scene will be setting up incident command and a command post. And part of that procedure is to identify a perimeter and set a perimeter for a safe distance away from a potential hazard. So yes, there should have been a perimeter officer at that location. I'd like to clarify, as these incidents are ongoing, we are at 121, we're dealing with breaches on the east front and the west front of the Capitol as well. So our manpower is very succinct in where these officers were assigned and stuff. And any officers that come to help set up a perimeter are coming from another area. We don't have just response teams, you know, waiting around to help set up perimeter. So there could have been a delay with getting there.
All right, thank you. Mr. Dennis, in your opinion, from watching that video, was there a safe perimeter at the RNC?
From looking at the video, it's hard to tell exactly, the perimeter, not being too familiar with the area, but back what the assistant chief just said is setting up a good perimeter like that for the safe distances for the bomb squad to act. It's hard to tell if it was actually done or not.
Okay, but there's, you know, in your opinion, there should have been something.
Could have been, yes, correct.
Is that a priority from your experience of
or when the bomb squad is responding to an incident such as this, and it's extremely important for the perimeter to be set up in a timely manner so the bomb squad could act appropriately.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Keim, in your opinion, was there a safe perimeter at the RNC at this time?
From the video, it's tough to tell, but that would be the, oh.
Thank you.
From the video, it's tough to tell, but that's, as a canine officer, when we show up, if we see a suspicious package or there's one there, the first thing we're gonna do is establish the command post and set up a perimeter a safe distance away.
Okay, Mr. Black, same question.
Yes, sir. Again, from the video, it's difficult to tell not being familiar with the area, but these are phases. So when the suspect device is first noticed, then the first responding officer should set up a safe perimeter, hold that perimeter until EOD assets can arrive on scene.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Dennis, why is it important to establish a secure perimeter early on and maintain that perimeter throughout the day? Why is that a priority to quarantine off that area?
So for when the bomb squad's responding and setting up their own internal command post, if you will, regarding dealing with the incident or the potential IDs or suspect packages, it's extremely important for the safe distance that are established with the perimeter to make sure that everybody is, both civilian as well as even other law enforcement personnel, are far enough away in a safe manner so the bomb squad could act appropriately.
Okay, thank you. Now, to complicate things even further, as Assistant Chief Gallagher said, there were multiple instances going on. There were actually another instance going on over at the Democrat National Committee. Similarly, law enforcement at the DNC appeared to fail to secure the perimeter at a much larger scale. The device at the DNC was discovered at 1:05 p.m. After its discovery, law enforcement should have established a secured perimeter at the DNC as well. Over the span of the afternoon, more than 30 different vehicles and numerous civilians breached what should have been a secure perimeter. The following video shows examples of the perimeter being breached at various points in the afternoon, both before and after the disruption of the device. This is once the bomb squad did their job, disrupted the device, we had instances before and after. Let's go ahead and play this tape. And again, this is a montage of
7A Adam, priority.
207, go ahead.
We have vehicles that are driving right past the package and coming up. We need to make sure that officers are posted right now just above Canal and Washington in order to ensure nobody walks past this package.
that was where the package was by the park bench there. For example, at 2:01 p.m., a U.S. Capitol Police officer incorrectly announced fire in the hole at the RNC when they meant to say DNC. At 2:05, the officer corrects their mistake and says, fire in the hole at the DNC. Mr. Black, what does the term fire in the hole mean?
Generally, the term fire in the hole would be indicative of an explosion is about to happen. It's a range term. When we're about to detonate a charge on an explosives range, that term fire in the hole would mean the explosion is going to occur.
In other words, look out, clear the area.
Yes.
All right. Mr. Dennis, what could this mistake lead to when dealing with multiple scenes? In other words, identifying, there's two going on, RNC, DNC, very similar names, but, and again, it was corrected at some point, but what could a mistake like that lead to? Declaring fire in the hole at the wrong location.
For me, sir?
Yes, sorry.
Obviously, information is critical. Knowing what's going on at a particular event is absolutely critical for incident command. Multiple devices, multiple locations, other problems in other areas complicate communications for any incident commander.
Sorry, I called you Mr. Dennis, my fault. Mr. Dennis, do you have anything to add to that?
No, I concur with what Mr. Black said.
Okay. At nearly the same time at the DNC, an unmarked police car drives next to the robot as it prepares to disrupt the bomb. Mr. Dennis, is it safe for a vehicle to drive within feet of a device, whether it's viable or not, after fire in the hole has been called?
That would be negative.
I'm sorry?
It wouldn't be appropriate for
It
a
would not be
vehicle to buy, no.
appropriate. Mr. Dennis, should any civilian or law enforcement officer be allowed within close proximity of the device, viable or not, once fire in the hole has been called?
No.
Okay, thank you. As you can see from the montage, there were several, both law enforcement and civilians in the area, even one, whether it's plainclothes police officer or civilian walking by and looking at the robot while it was there. It seems to be that, based on what you're telling us, that is highly inappropriate and potentially deadly. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. Next, I'd like to discuss law enforcement's failure to discover the devices. On the morning of January 6th, Vice President-elect Kamala Harris arrived at the DNC through the garage entrance. Prior to her arrival, the Secret Service conducted a security sweep of the building and its exterior. Based on records obtained by the subcommittee, the Secret Service used 2 Uniform Division K-9 units and more than 10 Secret Service agents to conduct this sweep. Let me just say before we roll this tape, we're showing all of these videos during my time in the beginning to save time later, so others may have questions based off of these videos. So this is just not for this line of questioning. Let's go ahead and roll this tape of the security sweep. It is a still picture of the building on the right, just for clarity of where the device is. At 9:28 a.m., a Secret Service handler and the bomb dog conducted a sweep of the garage outside the DNC. At one point in the video, the handler allows the dog to inspect an area directly behind the device. As the handler begins to pull away, his leash tightens, causing him to lose balance. Let's just look at that portion again for clarity. It's at this point when he goes down and turns to the right. You can see his leg kick out a little bit.
Whose leg were we looking
Right there, of the actual officer. Thank you. Mr. Keim, what is your assessment of the effectiveness of
Mr. Chair, may I
Yes.
just ask a question? I think we're probably about 10 minutes into your 5 minutes.
We're about to wrap it up. We're taking the additional time so we can save time later, so we don't have to replay the videos. So it's going to take a little additional time. We'll be moving on very quickly. Mr. Keim, what's your assessment of these sweeps in the video?
It appears to me that the canine handler, the canine team, is doing an open sweep where the dog's out in front of him and he's letting the dog dictate where he wants to go. Unfortunately, the dog goes out of the screen whenever the handler has his left leg and left arm go up. And it could be one of two things. The dog had some type of change of behavior out of our view, or the handler had a change of behavior and the handler's trying to allow that dog by giving him that extra lead. And that's usually what happens is your foot goes up, your hand goes up, and you're trying to leave. You don't want to put any unneeded pressure on the dog, meaning pulling on the lead and causing the dog to move. Depending on how well trained the dog is and the handler is, to me it appears he's trying to give him a little bit more lead because he's had some type of change of behavior. Unfortunately, we can't see what that change of behavior is, and it looks like the dog decides he's going to leave that area. Could he be an odor? He could have had some kind of change of behavior, but
Which could have been an alert.
it could have been. Alert would be a final response, like a sit would be an alert on a package, but that would be a change of behavior. And the handler wanted to give him the time to make a decision. Is he going to go? From what I understand, there's a wall there. And,
Yeah.
you know, it's hard to tell whether the dog gets an alert or how that air is moving. But the dog decided to leave it and walk away from
Okay.
it. So
Just real quickly, your assessment of the sweep of the vehicle.
the sweep of the vehicle, well, when we start training, depending on the experience of the dog, we tend to put a dog on a pattern. That was a free-flowing sweep where the dog's just out in front, and it looks like the dog has some kind of experience because it's hitting sort of the spots you need to hit, the wheel wells, the door seams, the windows. The handler actually pops the trunk, which causes the air to, the vehicle to breathe, the air inside. The dog turns away from it like it had no interest, so.
Okay.
And then it goes and finishes, right? You start at one corner, you go all the way around, you finish at the same corner you started at. Sometimes you overlap by a little bit.
Okay, thank you. This will be the last video after we play, because this is also video being used for questions by the rest of the committee. And this is the video of the U.S. Capitol Police controlled disruption of the device. The robot arm is in the bottom left of the screen, if you watch it there. With this, one quick question. Mr. Dennis, if the device is successfully disrupted, what do you expect to see?
Once a device is disrupted, in this case, looks like a galvanized type pipe bomb in there, you would have the end cap. If that's what they targeted was the end cap, but take the end cap off, which is usually what bomb technicians will do. You'll see the end cap somewhere within the location of the shot that they placed. Potentially any of the residue or anything that's inside the actual pipe itself may have came out at that time. Anything else that's exterior that was maybe attached to the pipe could also be laying there in the immediate area.
Okay. Is there nothing unusual that you see in that?
No, nothing.
Okay, thank you.